What is going on, HKD? Welcome back to the channel. So last time we talked, we said if we didn't crack above that fib line and get our push to the upside, we were probably going to be working our way back down to the gap fill. Good news is we're almost back down to that gap fill, but this is a hard one because it just wants to pop out of nowhere. It just wants to run whenever it wants to run. So what do we have to do if we're going to do any kind of TA on it? We have to look for some sort of similar patterns or what we're looking for, and then maybe we can kind of make a correlation and see what we're looking at. So what I did was I backed all the way up here to basically September of 22 and just kind of started looking at where the RSI was whenever it started to make its pops. So we can see the touchdown point just for indicator number one. Here's another little pop out of nowhere, but again, a touchdown to the RSI. So I was just kind of going through looking to see where these indicators were. This one took just a little bit longer, right? It took a few days to get its pop after that touchdown. Didn't spike quite as high as it has been back here in October, but we see the touchdown, and then come Monday, right, you get your spike back up. So just going off that pattern, pulling these lines with the RSI over is what I'm kind of looking at right now, just to kind of get a read as to what could happen as far as potential future bounces, I suppose. So here again, right, tap the RSI, nice little bounce, pop. Whenever we fall through this yellow trend line down here on the RSI, we get an extended down period of time. We're coming down, we're riding the green trend line like the RSI, the buying pressure is almost completely gone from the stock, and then out of nowhere, it decides to make its move. So I have two trend lines on my RSI drawn that I'm going to be using just as indicators to see how well we're responding once we truly fill this gap in that we were anticipating, to see if we might have a little bit of an extended down period of time, right? Are we going to pop off of the RSI, or are we going to come down to the extended period where we just get a little bit more downtrend and then the hit? It's one of those that's really difficult to read and judge, but if we look for patterns or some sort of similarity, we can usually find some sort of indicator that might give us an inclination as to, what might be the next move. So that's what I was looking for as far as the history goes through HKD and its movements. Here we can see it bouncing off of the green trend line, right? And then it works its way back up to our yellow trend line, and then it gets that nice powerful move to the upside. Right now we're watching for this gap fill to actually come in full swing. It's going to be somewhere, it's not to the penny, it's trading view too, so it could be off just a hair, but somewhere around, I'd call it $9.80 roughly. We are sitting at $11.04. It has been working its way down in a very controlled manner. Nothing too drastic ever since we were watching for what it was going to do around the trend line. Just a nice, smooth, slow down trend. Not what you want to see if you're in it, but again, we're looking for indicators as to what could be the one that moves it. Where is it going to bounce next? How long is it going to take? We might be looking at just a little bit of an extended extra down trend, but you never know. We're sitting right there at the point where it's probably going to be deciding if it wants to do that bounce, or if we're going to go into just a little bit extra and a little bit deeper of a sell-off as far as HKD goes, and then hopefully history repeats itself, if not here at the yellow line, which would be very nice. We've had one tap, but again, we're so close to filling in that gap. I think it's going to bring its way back down and just complete that gap fill before it decides if it wants to go up or down. So we're watching here, realistically, probably in the next day or two, I would think that it would be able to make its move to fill in what little it has left to do. About $1.25 to the downside from where it's sitting right now, but we've been lower than that. So what was the low on this candle? Lows. So we've been around $10.98. cents. So yeah, I mean, we're working our way down there. I do think that's what's going to happen, if nothing else, is just be watching for what happens whenever that gap does fill in, and be watching this RSI. You guys can trend it out as well on your own charts. The 1 hour is what I have it drawn up on, so just pull it up and you can mark them out pretty easy. Have one going to the up and one that's coming down, where usually seems to be the safety net that things catch and then push it back up into our pop zone. And I'd be watching for, just if it does do a deeper dive, how long is it going to take to hit our green RSI trend line down here, and if it just wants to fill the gap and make its push off of the yellow. So that's what I'm looking for. I'm still in here, but like I said, I have a very small position, and I didn't mind holding this one to the downside just because I know HKD moves out of nowhere, and it's really hard to kind of get a good read on it because the swings are so drastic. There's not a whole lot of real charting that we can do besides looking for those historical patterns and moves as far as how the stock reacts whenever it gets to certain levels or certain points with our buying selling pressure that's going on. The volume's still relatively good, even on the way down. You've seen your volume over here to the left side, if you can see that, how just stale and boring it can get as it makes that trend down. But we still have decent volume compared to what was over there. So I'm interested to see, because it looks like there's still interested parties that are in here. I mean, somebody's definitely doing some trading still, even on the way down. So maybe they're scalping it, maybe they're, who knows, taking profits or whatever they want to do on the way down, just protecting accounts. But yeah, in the last video we said be prepared for this. I do think that that's going to be what happens, and then just watch and see. If we get that bounce off of the yellow line, then obviously that's going to come a whole lot sooner. If we have to wait for our trend down to the green trend line, then it's going to take just a little bit while longer. So keep an eye on it. Let's see what it does. I hope you guys had a great weekend. I will catch you in the next one. As always, stay golden, people, and may your accounts stay green.